Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Gandharvika Giridhari, Gandharvika Giridhari, Gaura Hari. Jaya Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Ananta Dev, Lakshmi Narasimha, Jaya Ananta Dev. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Hari Bol. Nitai Gaya Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol.
So far, so good. How long are you going to stay put? 3 minutes? 4 minutes. Let's see what happens. Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Desatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Well, this is part 8, and at the end of part 8, something very nice happens. Before we got to part 8, there were a number of obstacles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lankini was number 4. And Hanuman very nicely took care of obstacle number 4. She gave permission to Hanuman to enter without obstruction, go wherever you like. And the second, she said, Lord Brahma had given me a boon that when I would be defeated by a monkey, then from that point on, the whole dynasty of the Rakshasas would come to an end. So she knew that Lord Brahma's words were very strong, and she disappeared. She went, she didn't say at this particular juncture, but she went to tell Ravana. Guess what? And then we heard his very careful consideration of how to not mess, now that he got this far, how to execute the plan in such a way that the purposes of Lord Ramachandra would be met. Who knows what's next for this little girl? So, his thoughtfulness, he exercised his powers exclusively for Ram's service, and he began the search for Sita, not knowing having only an idea what he heard from Lord Ramachandra, who it was that he was looking for, but his ruling out options had more to do with what the characteristics of the individuals were than compared to what she looked like. But at the end of today, he's going to find her, and what she looks like is the kind of person that he knew he was looking for, that Ramachandra wanted Hanuman to find. But so it's not expressed this way, but I was reflecting what we heard yesterday, and now what we're going to hear again this evening is the inner obstacle. Now he has this and that and the other asset. And when there's a mission, and mission is unaccomplished, he's not like he's a fruitive person or a lacking in faith person or lacking in anything person, but he's exhibiting, it's a transcendental emotion, you can say, but the uncertainty about would he be able to fulfill the instruction given to him? And he felt different transcendental feelings. And the conclusion that he reached was, if I fail to find Sita, I'm just going to stay here and live like a mendicant, fast and live meagerly until I leave this world, because I can't go back and say I was unable to find Sita. I can't do that because of the consequences, which we'll hear. So he's being thoughtful once again in what to do when the service that was entrusted to him wasn't happening. It wasn't lacking in his ability. Anyway, so there was the inner obstacle, his own determination, conviction, confidence, and stick-to-itiveness. And he succeeded in keeping the stick-to-itiveness to the very end, and lo and behold, he found Sita. And that's part 8, just for those of you that may want to know. There's another 6 parts, because the duration of the function together with the Chinese devotees is going to take that many parts to cover. We'll see how it goes. And she's not here, but I think I want to mention, the person who put all these graphics together is in India for Ayurvedic treatment. She needs to recover after doing all this, I guess. And her health has not been good. Shatarupa Dasi, she may be listening, I don't know, but she did the graphics, and it's very well done. And I know how long it takes to put all these things together. So my gratitude goes to her. So the title, From the Throes of Despair to a Ray of Hope, and the ray of hope is more than a ray of hope. He finds Sita. So he was going to places outside, mentioned the places he went. Now he's finally entering into the palace of Ravana. And we're going to see or hear of the opulence, the super opulence of this place. So far he hasn't seen Ravana, but he's soon going to see Ravana's body lying at his bed. This shows he only has one head, but the next illustrations are going to show his 10 heads. His lifestyle was pretty gaudy, like over the top. He was asleep on a bed. The bed was made of ivory encrusted with gold. Do you sleep in a bed like that? I don't either. Decorated by garlands of ashok flowers, because he had an ashok garden with ashok trees that produce very fragrant flowers. So he was decorated with the ashok flower garlands, lying on a bedspread made of sheepskin. Yuck. Bedspread made of sheepskin. Yuck. He was in his sleep, wearing jewelry. Body was smeared with sandalwood and fragrances, and there he is lying with his 10 heads in bed. Very impressive physique. Mighty, mighty, mighty arms. He looked like Sundara mountain, even when he was asleep. There was a scar on one of his arms when Airavati, he was doing battle with Indra. He went to Indra's abode and had a battle with Indra. So the elephant of Indra gouged his arm, and there was a scar where the tusk of elephant Airavata attacked him. Hanuman went near Ravana's bed, and then he moved away. It's mentioned, and then there's the analysis. Why did he move away so quickly? Was it that he was afraid? So he observed him from a further distance in a stairway nearby. So was he afraid of Ravana? The answer is no. A few hours later, he scolds Hanuman, you're bad, this and that. And then he burned all of Lanka, so he has not intimidated at all by Ravana. Then, so why did he jump away and move away quickly like that? There's a nice verse found in the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, 7th Canto, chapter 9, where it says, Prahlad says, I am not disturbed by the insurmountable Vaitarani of the material worlds, since my mind is absorbed in the great sweetness of singing your glories. I lament for the fools, averse to you, who carry the burden of material responsibilities, for gaining material happiness from sense objects. So notice in yellow outline is Maya Sukhaya Bharam. And those of you that have heard Prabhupada lectures, Srimad Bhagavatam lectures, he would do sometimes, take a certain phrase and say it again, speak a little bit, say it again, speak a little bit, say it again. And it would kind of like, my experience is at least, the phrase becomes the message. For him, for Prabhupada's way of conveying to his followers, the words of the Bhagavatam convey messages, and to those of you just hearing the verse, Maya Sukhaya Bharama Udvahato Vimudhan doesn't mean so much, but when he would say it again and say it again, the meaning would come out. My understanding of how that works also comes from Prabhupada. It's something like sandalwood. Any of our devotees here in the room have made sandalwood paste before for the deities? Yeah. When you hold a piece of wood, it's nice, but it's not so fragrant. But what makes the fragrance come out is this one. A few drops of water, not too much, little, and then the circular motion. And then as you make the circular motion, it becomes paste, but also the fragrance comes out. You ever done it? Yeah. So repeating phrases from shlokas like that is like making sandalwood paste. And there are persons who like, they're rasika devotees, they like the taste or the flavor, the sweetness of the verses of the Bhagavatam and the phrases of the Bhagavatam, and they know how to relish. And our acharyas take it further. A certain phrase can mean, and is commonly meant to understand this, but a sweet understanding that's also consistent with meanings of Sanskrit words can mean that, it can mean the other thing, it can mean the other thing. And they don't necessarily highlight and say, this is my favorite. It's just making the sandalwood paste. They're churning the topic. Or taking dahi and churning dahi and making butter. And then smearing the butter here and there. You made butter before? I encourage somebody that likes deity worship, next time you have Govardhan Puja, or maybe even the whole Kartik month, figure out a way. I've done it in some temples. So you make little butter churns, and you can make, you sing the songs that are Govardhan Astaka or something like that, and you're singing and churning, and you're like Mother Jasoda making butter for Krishna. and it works. I mean, you don't have to sing. You can sing, and that's nice. It adds sweetness to it. But you can make butter from churning yogurt. You got the cows. You got the festival, and then you offer the butter to Krishna. It's fantastic. And then you're a Brijbasi. Or trying to be, at least. So materialists, Maya Sukhaya Bharam. Bharam means heavy. Maya, we know what Maya means. Maya Sukha. There's no such thing. Material happiness. It appears to be happiness. It's a mirage. A mirage is a mirage, but it's not what water is. It's just a mirage. Happiness isn't Maya Sukha. There's no such happiness. It's a burden. But some persons carry the burden. This is Prahlad's lamentation. I'm not disturbed, except when I see people doing the Maya Sukhaya program and searching for happiness where there's no happiness and getting bonked in the head instead. That for me, that's unhappiness. I lament for such fools. So, Prabhupada also did the same thing. Sadhus run away from hedonistic activities because Maya Sukha is heavy, as it comes at a severe price. Heaviness of the heart. Nice painting with the image of the spiritual sky behind him, and he's just looking at a nice flower. And what's he seeing when he's looking at that nice flower? My sense, because of the painting is so nice, it's from a photograph. The painting is made from a photograph where he's holding this flower, champak flower, and it's golden in color. It's Lord Chaitanya. It's the color of Lord Chaitanya. The hue of Lord Chaitanya is like the flower in his hand. So just looking at the flower, in his mind he's seeing Lord Chaitanya. Ravana was born in an illustrious family. Brahma Palasya Vishravas. Vishravas was his father. He's a Brahmana who was Brahmana son of Palasya Muni. Palasya Muni was a mind-born son of Brahma. So he had great ancestry, but all of that ancestry was being misused, using his body and facilities for sense enjoyment alone. And this is Param, very heavy, very, very heavy. And without sadhusanga, this Maya Sukhaya is what one's life is. Gosh, I'm visiting India, you live here. A visitor to India sees the stark reality of how people are. The Maya Sukhaya program is, I mean, to some degree it's cosmetically covered, but it's so blatant. And the suffering is also so blatant. Even with sadhusanga, we may end up only intellectually realizing Maya Sukha's heaviness. It may not go heart deep. It's, the flip side of we can be chanting and not really have chanting enter into a heart. We can understand the lure of happiness through sense gratification, intellectually keep ourselves a little aloof from it, but not necessarily the kind that Hanuman has. Hanuman has not any, as we heard yesterday evening, not even an iota, tiny, tiny, tiny smallest amount of attraction. When people die, generally people die, in the material world. That they didn't live their life according to values. That is, they compromised and cut corners, and they didn't feel fulfilled. So let us not make that same mistake. Whatever your age may be, whatever you've done, not done, make the commitment. I don't want to live a life that's cosmetic. I want a life that's genuine. That I live from my heart, and then because I'm living from my heart, and the heart says Krishna is the goal, I'm living my life that way. At least striving every day, or striving in different parts of the day, moment to moment in the different parts of the day. Spare no effort for Krishna prema. Make time for what you value. So this is, it's nice. It's a nice exercise. We do this a lot in japa retreats. Is everything okay? Okay. That little pause for a moment. One of the nice things to do in a japa retreat is be really clear why you're there. I mean, just like why you're here this evening, part number 8. You want to hear Hanuman's meeting Sita, of course, that's why. But, and how does Hanuman process the obstacles, the internal obstacles? That's a nice reason to be here. So, understanding one's purpose, we do this at japa retreats. What's your intention? Sankalpa. It's called the Sankalpa exercise. Just like you have a pad, a paper, and sometimes you take some notes. So, if this was a japa retreat, I'm not going to do it, but if it was a japa retreat, we take, some minutes, 5-7 minutes, and write down your intention in being at the japa retreat. And think, seriously, not just check the box kind of an answer. Like, why, is this what's in your heart, what's motivating you? And then discuss with somebody near you. This is what I'm expecting, etc., etc., etc. So don't get so busy that you don't do that sankalpa exercise with your life. Somebody, from something that we were saying, the long-term goals, how do you establish long-term goals? It's besides the check the box answer to a long-term goal. What's a realistic thing for me? And is it realistic? Anyway, the introspection is an essential part of a devotional life. That's essentially what I'm saying. Because your intention drives your attention. And where attention goes, energy flows. If you've been around Vaisheshika Prabhu and book distribution, you know that one. Where attention goes, energy flows. Have you all heard that one? Yes. Now you've heard it. Where attention goes, energy flows. So pay attention to book distribution. But what's the intention behind the attention, or with your life? I'm spending some time on this topic because it's important. I mean, it's one of the messages. It's one of the themes of this evening's topic. There's lots of distractions, and he's not getting distracted. There's lots of lack of success, and he's feeling, but he's not getting lost in those feelings. So Hanuman went to the stairs. Nearby, he was backing away from Ravana's bedchamber, and he's now looking around. And looking around that there he is lying with his 10 heads, with so many ladies surrounding him. Some fanned from the corner of the bed, his loving wives. He had a lot of wives. All these ladies weren't his wives, but they were at his feet. Some of the ladies were there for massaging. Some were for playing musical instruments. Some danced. Some served him liquor whenever he woke up. All the women were exhausted by a night of pleasure and service to Ravana. One lady had fallen asleep in a dance posture. Right in Valmiki Ramayana. How do you fall asleep in a dance posture? Another lady fell asleep on the veena. She was playing a veena and she got really tired and fell asleep on the veena. The head of one lady was on the chest of another. They looked knocked out in this painting. Then he saw a queen sleeping separately on a bed, well decorated, radiant, and fair complexioned. And Hanuman thought, this is maybe her. By her appearance and youth, this may be Sita Devi. Is this Sita Devi? See at the top? No. Who is it? What happened? The lady was Mandodari. So he wanted to check her out. He did it in a nice way. He clasped his arms, kissed his tail, acted delighted, was playful, sang, paced like a monkey, climbed pillars, and fell down on the ground. He didn't talk to her, although he could talk to her, but he wanted to stimulate and see what her response was. But a few moments later, he began to think within himself, lovely Sita, being away from Ram, will not sleep, will not eat or drink or adorn herself. How can she approach any other man, even if he is the king of gods? For there is none equal to Ram, even among the gods. So he kind of admonishes himself and looks further for Sita. He comes to another place, huge banquet hall with alcoholic drinks, with the meat of deer, buffalo, boars, peacocks, pigs, bones marinated with yogurt and special kinds of salt. This is not a place for Sita, forget it. The hall appeared beautiful with many kinds of garlands at different places in the hall. The vessels were made of pure gold, crystalware, and jars were spread all over. Sita's not here. Hanuman saw many women sleeping after being inebriated and exhausted and thought, oh, shame on me, I've transgressed the moral codes by observing the wives of others in this manner in their inner chambers. Because men aren't allowed in the inner chambers of ladies. It's just, even if in Rakshasa culture. Then he does a course correction. It's true I saw all the loyal wives of Ravana, but without any foul desire. Indeed, in my mind, no passionate feeling was even slightly aroused. The mind propels the sense organs to do good or bad deeds. My mind is firmly established in righteousness, dharmic, fixed in dharma. There is no way I can avoid looking at women because I have to search for Sita amongst other women. A woman cannot be searched in a flock of deer. So I haven't misbehaved. Remember, he's a brahmachari. He left the banquet hall and searched in other places, but couldn't find Sita. So now comes this, grief and despair emotion. It's a transcendental, we should understand. Hanuman is not on the platform of us. We're not on the platform of Hanuman either. So his emotion is a transcendental emotion. And it's not only allowable, it's relishable. Janaki, follower of the noble path, anxious to protect her chastity, must have been killed by the wicked Ravana. I've spent a long time with Vanaras. Now he's thinking back of his friends back in before he made this leap into Lanka. I have not succeeded in my efforts to find Sita. I dare not see Sugriva now without finding Sita and without fulfilling my task. Sugriva will punish me severely. There's no way out. It's not like he's afraid of punishment. He doesn't want to disappoint Sugriva. I've searched all over the harem. Ravana's women have been seen, yet I have not been able to see noble Sita. My efforts seem to have been wasted. Now, this is a transcendental emotion. Again, supposing we are trying to do something and it's not happening, then we can become discouraged. That's us. What his emotion is not our fruitive activity not being fulfilled. That's not what's going on. It's a transcendental emotion. Look at the sad face. Ooh. What will the Vanras say when I return? What should I speak when they ask me, "Oh, hero, what did you accomplish there?" Since the time limit has exceeded and Janaki is not spotted, surely the Vanras would sit and wait until death. What am I going to say? What will the elderly Jambavan say? What will the young Prince Angada? Who's Angada? He's the son of Vali. Yeah. You all know. Did you know? Okay. And other Vanras collected there say, when I reach the seashore to meet them, it's not like he wants to shake off that negative feeling or something. He's focused on the objective, and there's the internal obstacle, maintaining determined. Being free from despair is the root cause of prosperity. Freedom from despondency gives supreme happiness and leads to success. These are his contemplations, because he's a dharmic person. He understands all these things. The action of a living being certainly bears fruit. Therefore, I shall put forth my best effort without feeling despondent. I will once again search everywhere in Lanka, ruled by Ravana. So off he goes, searching again. Thinking thus, Hanuman started searching once again the basement cells, temples, and homes within homes. Hanuman saw other exquisitely beautiful women, as well as the daughters of the Nagas, kidnapped by Ravana, but he still couldn't find Sita. So fourth time around, grief. It is indeed a waste of effort for me to have crossed the ocean and come to Lanka. Sampati, king of vultures, said that Sita is at Ravana's palace, but she's not in Ravana's palace. I haven't been able to see her. How can Sampati be wrong? One should have trust in sadhus. So he can't be wrong, but I can't find her. Can it be that Mithili, daughter of Janaka, dejected and helpless, succumbed to the evil intentions of Ravana? Or perhaps she might have been dropped midway from the hold of Ravana while he was flying at great speed, afraid of the deadly arrows of Ram. Or perhaps while being borne away on the path frequented by the Siddhas, the beloved of Ram might have fallen down dead, heartbroken, on seeing the vast sea. She might have fallen into the sea while wriggling in her effort to extricate herself from the hold of Ravana as she was flying over the sea. There's a nice painting. Jatayu having his battle. There's Sita tossing her ornaments over the side of Pushpaka Vimana, and the 10-headed and 20-armed Ravana doing battle with Jatayu. Nice painting. Or the pious black-eyed Sita might have been eaten by the cruel-natured wives of the Lord of the demons, or she might have attained death meditating on Ram, whose face resembles the full moon and whose eyes resemble the lotus petals. There she is in the Ashok Grove, feeling pain of separation from Ramachandra. Or Vaidehi, the princess of Mithila, might have cast off her life, grieving intensely, crying, "Alas, Rama, alas, Lakshmana, alas, Ayodhya. I wonder what was the right course of action. What the right course of action is when things have taken such a turn. What is proper for me to do?" He is a dharmic person. He's experiencing transcendental emotions. If I return to Kishkinda without seeing Sita, of what use is my effort? What have I accomplished? What will happen? If I report the most unpleasant news that Sita was not found, Ram will give up his life. If Ram gives up his life, Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, Sugriva, Ruma, Tara, Kaushalya, and all the residents of Ayodhya will give up their lives. If Janaki is not found, I will stay here and live like a hermit, subsisting on whatever is available on this seashore, which has abundant of roots, of flowers, roots, fruits, and water. He's ready for ascetic life. I will prepare a pyre and enter the fire so that sea waves wash off the ashes, or crows and beasts will eat up my body while I sit fasting until death. He's a pretty intense personality, huh? Distressed over his inability to find Sita, Hanuman's mind was overcome with anxiety as he started thinking further. Till I find the virtuous Sita, wife of Ram, in this Lanka, I shall keep searching everywhere and again and again. Here is the Ashok Grove. Hint, he's going to find her. With huge trees. I will go there. I have not looked here for her in this place. So he enters the Ashok Vana, and in the middle of the Ashok garden, there was a lofty temple filled with fragrance, like a second Gandhamadana mountain. The temple had 1,000 pillars, was as white as Mount Kailash, with stairs made of coral and platforms made of refined gold. You saw in the painting, in the background, Sita was sitting and there was this little temple. So here's what he sees. There, Hanuman saw a lady wearing a soiled garment, surrounded by Rakshasa women, emaciated due to fasting, looking miserable, sighing again and again. So those are the Rakshasi ladies surrounding her, their guards to break her determination. After seeing the large-eyed lady, worn out and dressed in soiled clothes, Hanuman started deliberating in himself and guessed it was Sita for strong reasons. On seeing Sita, the son of Vayu or son of Vayu? Leave out the the. Okay. The son of Vayu felt glad at heart and mentally reached Ram, the Lord of the world. In his mind, he went to report to Ram, I found her. Hanuman was full of praise for Ram, not taking any credit, success. I did it. I cooked the best Sunday feast. I sang the best kirtan. I dressed the deities so nicely for the festival. He's fully Ram conscious. His thoughts went to in his mind. We know the mind is so swift. Immediately you think of something, you're there. It's true materially and it's true transcendentally. He is fully on the transcendental platform. So he went to Ram. He reported to Ram, full of praise for Ram, not taking amanina manadena kirtaniya sadhari. He's the acharya. He's the acharya. And he's got a service given to him by his master. Acharyas have masters too. They are masters, but they have masters. And there's one that doesn't have a master, and that's Ram. Or Krishna. So that's the end. But it's just the beginning. There's 6 more chapters of what happens next. So he does the Hanuman. He's very cautious. He sees the scene. He doesn't want to startle her. He doesn't want to wake up the sleeping Rakshasis. He has to gain her confidence. So how to do that and not make a mess? So we know what he does. He makes himself really small, like a cat, goes up to the tree and starts singing praises of Ram. Knowing just loud enough that Sita will hear. The Rakshasas don't hear. Sita hears. And as she hears, where's that sound coming from? And he continues and continues, and her heart melts. Who are you? And only then he jumps down from the tree and introduces himself. Haribol. I'm Ram's messenger. He doesn't right away show the ring. He says many. Anyway, it's very nice. It's very nice. Very nice. Sundara Kanda. Very beautiful. And I'm thinking, as I'll end this way, Monkey King isn't Hanuman. They think that's how the Monkey King is derived from Ramayana. This Chinese scholar knew Ramayana. And he just wove in the Monkey King in the story of this Buddhist monk that went across the country to get the teachings of Buddha and brought them back and did what he did and met different obstacles, and the Monkey King and helps him overcome those obstacles time and again. Kind of like a mascot with mystic powers. He flies and he gets big and does mystical things. But Hanuman is just Ram. Hanuman was full of praise for Ram, including the obstacles and overcoming the obstacles and everything. Full of praise. So let's see if there's some discussion. Look at this, it's only 13 minutes after 7. We have lots of time. Comments or questions? There's one over here.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Maharaj, how could Hanuman and the other Vanaras
How can he do what?
How can Hanuman and the other Vanaras trust Sampati blindly? I don't know if it's right or not, but as far as I've read or heard, I felt that he's not a sadhu, and he was also thinking of, like, when they were like, they lost all hope on reaching the shore. They were like, I think we need to fast till death, and then because we didn't find Sita yet. And then Sampati was right there, and then it was like, oh yeah, finally I can feast on something, and blah blah blah. And he was also a complete stranger, so how could they like trust Sampati?
I got about 30%. Okay, go ahead, please. Yeah. But he didn't know them, but somebody heard them speaking about his brother. Somebody had a brother. That's why he lost his wings. He was protecting his brother from the heat of the sun. So they had him speaking about his brother. He wanted to hear more. That's how he jumped down, to hear more about his brother. And so that meant they're friends, just because they know his brother. And then when they heard that he wanted to do, the procedure after the departure of a soul, and they did their thing. So they had a bond of friendship already. Does that help? No. Go ahead. Oh. Yeah. Good point. He was a very compromised sadhu. But sadhu, in the deeper sense of what a sadhu is one who gives Krishna or gives Brahman. So he gave an understanding, because they're searching for Sita, and he says, I know where Sita is. I can see that she is. That's direction they moved. And my eyesight is still there. My wings are gone, but I can see. So sadhu, in that sense, that although my background may have been dark, I want to reveal the absolute truth, or the consort of the absolute truth. I want to help you regain that position. So he's not like this, perfect sadhu, but he's doing the sadhu function. And, he's not, anyway. Jatayu just was service-minded. He was also a vulture, but he was service-minded. Vultures have to eat. Everybody has to eat. So what's vulture food? Dead vanaras. Right? Carcasses of a dead animal is the food for a vulture. Yummy. That's his natural food. Like Garuda. Garuda is a winged carrier of Lord Vishnu. What's his food? Serpents. Yuck. What kind of exalted personality is Lord Vishnu riding on the back of? Garuda. But the Lord Vishnu, the personality of Godhead, is so kind, he takes service even from people from vultures that eat carcasses of dead animals, etc. So he's sadhu because he's revealing Brahman, or the consort of the Supreme Brahman. In that sense. Okay. Several hands. Look at this. Hands. Go ahead. See those hands? There's one. Wherever you see a hand, do your thing.
I have heard that Rama captured the Maya Sita and not the original Sita. And how can Maya Sita also have the qualities of chastity like the Sita Devi? Can you explain about that?
See this little box? He's going to help me understand because I don't like wearing these things. Maya Sita went to Lanka. Yeah. Why not? You have a problem with it?
Means I want to know how is Sita and Maya Sita connected? The qualities of Sita.
Well, first of all, in Valmiki Ramayana, there's no Maya Sita. There's some other things that are not in Valmiki Ramayana, but that's one of them. But it's common. It's, it's a common. So you can mix things and put it in a blender and turn it on high speed and come out with all kinds of Ramayanas in one smoothie. But it's just a detail, but there's no such thing in Valmiki Ramayana. No. In other Ramayanas, there is such a thing. I mean, for example, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, excuse me, I want eye contact from here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the version that there's a Maya Sita was taken. You know that from Chaitanya Charitamrita, right? You don't know. Okay, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met a Brahmana who was an ecstatic devotee of Lord Ramachandra. He invited Lord Chaitanya to have lunch with him. But when Lord Chaitanya came after bathing, ready for lunch, the Brahmana was in meditation and waiting for Lakshman to come back from the forest with the edibles. So he understood this man is in a spontaneous raga bhakti, but Rama raga bhakti. And then after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had lunch, he asked the Brahmana to have lunch. And the Brahmana said, no, I'm fasting because Sita's been kidnapped. How can I eat when Sita's been kidnapped? And Lord Chaitanya said, no, the false Sita. Then he traveled further South India and he found a particular Purana that had the history, and he had a hand copy made and came back to meet the Brahmana and told the Brahmana, see, here's the scriptural verification. Sita wasn't kidnapped. It was a Maya Sita. All this is like detail, but there are different versions of Ramayana, different Puranic versions, and different Ramayanas that aren't even Puranas, just people that wrote their Ramcharitmanas, for example, that's very popular. But anyway, so there's different versions. Now back to your question. To understand that question, we need acharyas to help us understand questions like this. But she, the false Sita, wasn't a real Sita, it was Maya Sita. But can't the false Sita have some of the characteristics of the real Sita? And why is there a problem if the false Sita is chaste? And therefore she refuses to succumb to Ravana because she's chaste. She's devoted to Ram. So it's the false Sita or Maya Sita is like a reflection, and the reflection is like the object that's casting the reflection. So there can be characteristics in the Sita that was kidnapped with the Sita that wasn't kidnapped, but taken by the fire god and Agni, then Agni returns her and all that nice history. But a characteristic like the one that she's the reflection of, or the shadow of. You okay with that? You want a microphone?
Because I always want to hear glories of Sita. So now I heard that it is reflection. So Sita is always glorified in that way also. I wanted to know.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But the idea that it was Maya Sita is, how can Ravan touch? That's, a perspective. Therefore, Maya Sita. And it's one of the glories of the real Sita that Maya Sita has characteristics like, as you said. Okay, where's our microphone runner? Okay, somebody raise your hand. We have many people that had their hands up. You happen to be sitting very close to the right place. There's people back there, but they're going to have to wait till you finish.
Maharaj, in our daily services, we make sankalpas, and while trying to follow these sankalpas, lot of hurdles, obstacles comes our way. I observed that most times I dealt these obstacles. While dealing with this obstacle, lot of anarthas comes up, and this makes me less confident that I'm displeasing Guru, Sadhu, and Shastras. So, how do how to deal these emotions and be strong and not carried away by these?
How to get strong and not get carried away by illusion, in essence. How to stay strong and not be carried away by illusion or distractions. Well, the obstacle is our anarthas. Generally speaking, for us, those are those conditioned souls like us. For you and me, we're conditioned souls. We're not on the platform yet of spontaneous devotional service. So prior to the spontaneous stage, we need to be guided by spiritual intelligence, buddhi. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mamapiyanti te. Our mind and the emotions within our mind and our senses and all of those secondary corollary forces that are operating in our lives, they're to be directed by our intelligence. And you get intelligence from Supersoul, or from the spiritual master, or from Shastra, Guru Sadhu Shastra. And we're guided by that. So if the question is, how do you get the strength to do all that, it's the process of bhakti. Adav Shraddha, Tatak Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Vritti. That's what we do. Just follow the process. Keep good association. I mean, the question can be a little complicated. Life can seem to be complicated, but the solution is very simple. It's not complicated. And if it's not happening by the snap of our fingers, that's okay. It takes a while to get in the distracted and the illusion position. It took a whole bunch of lifetimes. So it may take some while to extract ourselves from, but the path of extraction is very simple. Sadhu Sangha Bhajana Kriya Anartha Vritti Nishtha. You got a better method? It works.
So when so the struggle that I face, Maharaj, is that when the anarthas comes in, obstacle is there. We are trying to overcome that, And when I deal that through some anartha like anger or envy, it makes me feel less confident that I have been hearing for so many years, but still end up dealing it through the anartha. So that makes me less confident.
There's a recording that's been recently made in Naperville where Nityananda Pran and Hemangi have a 3-part series on a topic that I asked them to speak about. Still chanting, still reading, not much progress. In simple words. And then the rest of what you say, I can feel discouraged, or I'm not doing something, something, something. The negative emotion, I'm stuck. So I recommend it. It's the elements of that I just said are the essence of what they're going to say. But they'll say some little pieces here and there, and with confidence, and because the process works. Just stay with the process. Keep good sadhusanga, however long it takes. You can examine yourself, look inwardly, and how well am I applying the process? Is it cosmetic? Well, as one of the slides said, it's intellectual, but it's not gone heart deep. So what can I do to make it go a little more than just the behavior, but the devotion expression of whatever the hearing, chanting, praying, worshiping, serving the devotees. The qualitative way in which I'm doing.
Thank you, Maharaj.
And Krishna will give you intelligence, and also if you're desiring sincerely, like you're expressing, because you said it twice, it means it's something that it's important to you. So seek those persons, those members or sadhus or devotees who you look up to, they can empathize and extend a hand. And then it's not just your strength, but this additional strength of someone else that's wise, that's not living your autobiography. They can see you and hold your hand and take you the next step and reassure you it's doable. See, it wasn't so difficult, and how does it feel, this next step? Yes, let's take, is there another step? What's that other step? Like that. A guide, someone like a senior devotee. They don't have to be, they don't have to be a perfect person. They have to be someone that there's reliable and of good character, and they're progressive. And there are such devotees. Find such devotees and be with them. Build friendships. That's the 6 types of loving exchanges. Yes? Disclose your mind, and they disclose their mind to you, etc. Okay, I see some hands towards the back. We'll get there. Don't worry. It's only 7:32. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. My question was, the book, The Monkey King, is it the same, the life of Hanuman, or like some changes?
No. It's something else. It's fiction. And he's just borrowing the persona, giving a name that resembles Hanuman. He doesn't call him Hanuman. He calls him the Monkey King. And he does fantastic stuff. In the midst of an actual history, there's this Monkey King that does mystical stuff. And he's a good writer and people like it. But it's fiction. Absolute fiction. Okay. Wave your arms.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. My question is not related to this today's evening class.
No. I want to stay focused on the topic. You've heard me answer this, but I'll say it again anyways, so it's not just picking on you. It's something that I heard Prabhupada in recorded lectures say multiple times. Questions should be on the topic we've discussed, because otherwise attention will go away from the topic we discussed, and the force of that topic we just spent hour 45 minutes dwelling on will be dissipated. So please keep your questions on topic. So another time,
Okay, thank you.
maybe tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see, tomorrow morning is Lord Shiva.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Here in this final part 8, we notice that Hanuman goes about with perseverance, moving towards his goal. Whereas a struggling sadhaka like me, what does it take to have the determination in pursuing our spiritual goals? Because I do encounter a lot of obstacles and difficulties. So what is the practical thing that is there for me to apply? Thank you. What is it that what is the practical thing that I need to do to apply? I mean, to stay determined.
What do you have to do practically to remain determined? Sadhu Sangha. And then you can evaluate the qualitative manner in which you're going about that sadhu sangha, but that's the principle. And so if you or anybody finds their determination is unsteady, it's wavering, it may have a lot to do with the anarthas within, that they have to be cleansed. So you hit the reset button, you go back to the basics of sadhu sangha and how you're aligning yourself to sadhu. And then you start again. And you keep doing that. No. This young lady, do you have the microphone? No, you take the microphone. You had your hand up several times. You have the microphone. You don't have a question. Oh, okay. I'm seeing things. Okay. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much for a nice class. Maharaj, here we see that Hanuman is making a lot of like ifs and buts, like when he is not able to find Sita, like he's saying this might have happened or that might have happened. And same happens with us also, like suppose we don't get the desired result or some reversal comes, then we think that, okay, this happened because of this reason or maybe that reason. So is this okay to speculate like that? Like,
You're not Hanuman, so don't imitate. For you and most of us that do that type of thing, it's just blah, 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 blah. It's the mind, the diary of the mind. Take some pill and, don't go all over the place with it. Mental speculation. I see your hand, but there's somebody right in front of you that's been...
Maharaj, one more question. Like Hanuman has this goal fixed to find Sita, right? So like in our daily life, like we have our sadhana, but when we go to occupational duty, what should be our goal? Like,
Oh, come on. The answer is right in Bhagavad Gita. You know the answer that's in Bhagavad Gita. Just go to the Bhagavad Gita. You have a duty to do, and you do that duty for Krishna. Now, the duty that you do in the office and your day-to-day occupation and whatever else, it's not all find Sita. Or, take the message of Krishna to the conditioned soul, the jiva that's out there, lost, captive by the forces of evil, or Maya, or something. So that's an important part of our life. And then there's other duties that we also do. We do them in such a way, try to do them in such a way that you're doing this activity or that activity, the next activity, with the same focus. This is for the satisfaction of Krishna. And you may not understand what that's going to look like right away, but that's the assignment. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, my question is based on the current slide. So whenever we do any activity that may be material or spiritual, so when we complete one activity and if it's successful, how to carry Ram within our heart, not in a speculative way, but mentally how to carry Ram in our heart?
You know the answer. If you're attached, then it's on your mind. If you're Hanuman, if you're Radharani, you're attached to Krishna, and you're asking Radharani, how do you always think of Krishna? She's not a yogi. She's attached to Krishna, so she's going to think of Krishna in any circumstance. So become attached to the object of devotion. Mission accomplished.
Can I have one more question, Maharaj?
One more?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, as you showed in previous slide, sometimes we may feel desperate or
Sometimes we'll be what?
desperate or we have negative emotions. Yeah. Desperate emotions.
No. Do you have some? You smile too much. So what's your question?
How to overcome that? Because Hanuman had that negative emotions, but
No, but he's on a transcendental platform. I said that 6 times, and that's 7 times. He's attached to Ram. And being unable to please Ram, when Krishna goes to Mathura, the gopis, nothing can substitute for being with Krishna. So they're experiencing separation. It's a transcendental emotion. It's different than you and me. Our negative emotions are not Hanuman's emotion. So the lesson, just here, the first question answers the second question. Become attached. Microphone all the way in the back. And I think we're going to end with this.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. just a comment, two comments. The first is when Hanumanji entered into the inner chambers of ladies, and when he came back, he was contemplating that had he made any mistake. And that demonstrate very high culture of Hanumanji. And it's very inspiring to know that and hear from you. And the second comment, he was so fixed in the service of Lord Ram, even though he had seen those ladies, he was absolutely undisturbed.
Yeah.
And that is so inspiring that if we are fixed in a service to Lord Ram, Ramartha or Vanara Artha, that was our beginning of our lecture here, will be definitely undisturbed, very inspiring. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. Well, yeah. This, no. The Elder Mataji over here, put your hand up again. Wave your arm. There she is. So I'd like to, Prabhupada did the same thing. When he went to America, he was thinking, he had an image in his mind of what the land of opulence. And the place where he was staying was along the Bowery, and literally drunks lying on the sidewalk, drunk, in tattered clothing and unclean and haven't bathed in who knows when, and smelly, and then he went to Los Angeles and morning walks, and they're going along the beach, and there's naked young men, naked young women having sex on the beach. They're living like animals. And then going to the festivals where, it's the same thing, intoxication and nudity and, wildness. And that was his audience. He just picked people up from that situation and made them clean. I mean, I don't know if anyone, the Bowery derelicts became his followers. There's one story, and a drunken man came staggering into 26th Avenue and put a bottle of liquor on Prabhupada's desk and staggered out again. It was like he was making a donation of his favorite liquor. But he moved in and undisturbed, because there was a mission. And he found other audiences besides those types of audiences. And gradually. Yes.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances. Guru Maharaj, thank you so much, Guru Maharaj. Wonderful classes and nectar also. One comment and one small question. Comment is, last Monday asked me Samkund Prabhu, Mataji, you like Mahabharata, Bhagavatam or Ramayana? I said immediately, I like Bhagavatam. But now I have developed interest in Ramayana and want to hear more and more. My comment. Question is, abundant wealth can be received because of past virtues. How a demon like Ravana received so much wealth?
How did he gain so much wealth?
Yeah. Demon.
Oh, he stole it. Wherever he went, he beat people up and took their stuff. That's how he got it. Now that, that's all. And the online question we're going to end. Yay. He's bringing you the microphone. How can we understand the difference between?
How to understand the difference between trying to be like Hanuman and trying to think like Hanuman, which is a more optimistic way and approach.
I can hear you better without the microphone. Could you all hear what he said? Yes? Good for you. I don't know what to do. Yeah, but some people can hear and this guy can't hear. So it's acoustics plus. To think like Hanuman but not to act like Hanuman? Well, we don't exactly think like Hanuman. We try to follow the example of. And follow the example of, by that I mean, it's the same theme that I spoke at the very beginning, this sankalpa thing. What's our purpose or intention? A little bit like that topic of the long-term goals topic. But time moves. Time doesn't stand still. There's some persons in the room that are on the younger end of the time scale. Some persons in the room are the older end of the time scale. And many are somewhere in between. But time keeps moving for all of us. So how are we using that time, and for what purpose? Each one of us. We're engaged in the bhakti process. And what's the purpose of our engaging in the bhakti process? Like tomorrow morning when you get up in the morning and it's time for doing what you do in the mornings, your sadhana. And what's the consciousness besides the doing of the thing that you're doing? And how much attention are we investing in the purpose behind the doing as opposed to just doing? It's the bhakti muscle. In exercising the bhakti muscle, not just doing the exercises. And it makes a difference. Where we'll end up 1 year from now, what to speak of at the end of our life, where we're going to be 1 year from now compared to where we are today. Like this question that was asked about, I'm performing, but I don't feel I'm progressing. So thinking like Hanuman is purposeful. Now he is the son of the wind god Vayu, and he has some merit that we don't have. He has mystic powers that we don't have. He has lots of things we don't have. So we don't imitate, but we learn from him the principle and follow the principle of striving to become singularly dedicated to bhakti. Because Hanuman represents, or is the emblem of, Dasya. He's a servant. And there's nothing, he's not wanting another rasa. He's not wishing, maybe I could be his friend, or maybe I could be his something. He's very happy. So, whatever our position is, we have some opportunity, each of us have some opportunity for service. It may be defined by this method or that system or something. But stay focused on that the essence of who we are, which is we're constitutionally Jiver Sarupaya Nityara Krishna Das. We're servants of the Supreme. And then let that detail become more and more the focus of our life, like our natural disposition of being a servant of the Supreme Lord. I think it's time to end. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.